Hey, how's it going? It's Hudson here. I just wanted to share a little video to show how Arcane Mage can be played in 8.3 to a respectable level. And what made me make this video is that recently I've been trying to get my Arcane IO up just to see how it compared to other players who've played Arcane. I made Fire, of course, this patch like most other mages. But I wanted to try Mythic Plus with some Arcane, and there's not too many resources. Yeah, even in the class Discord, I had to ask some of the top players to give me some advice on how to play it in Mythic Plus, and they shared some of their knowledge with me, which was really helpful. And I'll relay that on to you. But before we get started, I guess I just want to show the talents that I'll be using. So these are my single target talents, and I'll explain why, and then I'll explain how to switch to your Mythic Plus talents and what those will be afterwards. In the opener that I showed you, I'm using these talents, of course, because it just gives the best single target, but the difference between the single target and multi-target talents might be maybe like 5 to 6k in single target damage loss to switch over to those Mythic Plus talents, and it ends up being worth it because you get a lot of AoE damage by doing that. So we start off with rule of threes. That will stay the same for single target and multi-target. It's just the clear best, right, for any scenario, DPS wise, because the other two are just DPS losses if you switch to them. Shimmer is really a clear winner here. Slipstream's not as consistent as you would like it to be while moving, especially in Mythic Plus, and most of the time in Raid. It's just not useful. Mana Shield's just kind of a waste because of the way scaling's happened, and if you absorb 100k healing or 100k health from that, you're going to lose half your mana. It's just a huge DPS loss. Rune of Power is the obvious pick here. Cander's Flow is just a DPS loss, same with Mirror Image. Rune of Power will always be best. AoE, single target every scenario. Now, this is one of the rows that you can actually switch up. Supernova is an interesting one that has some utility, but you sacrifice a lot of damage, which you might think to take into Mythic Plus, but generally it's not worth it. Charged Up's best for single target. You always take it for single target. It grants you 4 charges of Arcane Charge, right, immediately. And then Resonance is what you take for Mythic Plus. So you'll be switching between Resonance and Charged Up. Resonance increases your Arcane Barrage for each extra target it hits, and it hits, I believe, up to 4 extra, so your initial one plus 4 others. So your 5 target cleave becomes very good at that point. Then Chrono Shift is what you will take in this one, unless if you're running High Corruption, which is like, I guess, above 40, or 40 or above, and you take Ice Ward just so you can get those extra. Because Chrono Shift gives you a lot of mobility. If you're playing like Total or something where you need Ring of Frost, you might want to run Ring of Frost as well. I guess I'll switch back to Ice Ward because I have things from Beyond. Now, Reverberate is the multi-target Mythic Plus talent that you'd like to take in this row, as it makes your Arcane Explosion give you more Arcane charges, thus allowing you to Arcane Barrage more, which I'll show you that rotation here very soon, because that's what I had trouble finding, actually. So this will be your Mythic Plus talent, whereas Touch of the Magi, although it is an AoE talent, it gives you more single target in sims in most other scenarios. Nether Tempest has been simming similar, but it's a difficult play style because you have to change a little bit, so I'm not going to go into that. It's generally just not worth it for most players, and it's only getting a little bit close in sims. Overpowered in the last tier is just the clear winner here. Arcane Orb is interesting, but I'd suggest not playing that. Same with Time Anomaly. Alright, now that we're done with talents, I'd like to show a couple things. Just going on to the web here, I've got the aggregate logs and rankings from Warcraft logs. And it shows that Arcane Mage is very low, but yeah, I believe that to be mostly because how dominant Fire Mage is with the low sample size for Arcane Mage. I think last time they split the rankings, I was I hardly played Arcane, right? And I was 300th in the world, so there's very little players playing, right? Um, where is it? Let me switch to Arcane to show you. I did 4 boss fights as Arcane. Very easy. It didn't even do that good damage on mod. This was pre-Corruption Vendor is what it was. But now that we have the Corruption Vendor, DPS of course increased a lot and stuff like that. But I guess we can go into this now. I currently only sim at 106k single target. But and of course my fire sims at about 115k, so that's about a 7 and 9k damage loss. But if you look at this, I'm running 75 corruption on my fire mage with what I have is full bis corruptions, and I have sockets on everything. And this, I have sockets on a couple things, but not everything. I'm missing a 485 manifesto, and I don't have the perfect corruptions as well. So with that, I should be up to around 115 or so. But I'm going to go into the top of the top Arcane mages right now to show you. So Cinnabon is actually the top Arcane mage in the world. He plays on US. And as you can see by all of his logs right here, definitely the top Arcane mage. We're going to go to his sim. Right now, it sims at 117.5k DPS. Notice that it is lower corruption, though. Like mine, I was only running 55 corruption. He's running 52. And we're going to compare this to one of the world's best fire mages. He's the world's best that is on, like, English servers, right? So he's in EU Blackhand, and this is Gladrian. He's simming at 120k overall DPS, which is actually really good for a fire mage. So you have Warforged socketed font. That's how he gets up that high. Regardless, Cinnabon would be able to sim that high, if not higher, with a little bit extra corruption. One more strike through, I think, adds like about 5k or so DPS. He said in the Discord, or maybe it might not have been him, it might have been another Arcane mage that's near there, Porum, if you guys have ever heard of him. Sims around, I believe, 125 to 127k, but I wasn't able to get his sims. Now, while we're here, I just wanted to show the difference. So while we transition to the Mythic Plus stuff from Raid, this would be what I'd do in Raid with best talents picked, right? So this would be with 106k with charged up. I'm just gonna go back to that for the sake of it. Charged up, touch the Magi, talented with everything else default. So I do 106.5. Now, if I switch back to Resonance and Reverberate, right, for Mythic Plus, I'm only sacrificing about 6k DPS, which is really not that much for Mythic Plus, because you aren't doing too much single target, right? Now, where are we? Now it's time to go to, so we can go to stat priorities and gearing. This is actually a pretty interesting to me, at least. So as you can see, my gear is like really not that good for Arcane. I don't have sockets on everything. I'm missing stuff, but the main thing is that you want to have as much critical strike. You can see a crit on all of my gear here. You want critical strike on all of your gear. Essentially, it is your best stat continuously until you get up to a certain threshold. And you'll have to find that threshold out for yourself, but what becomes of critical strike is you'll be running Manifesto, most likely. If you want to do like top damage or something, you need to run Manifesto. And whenever you pop Manifesto, right, I'll do it right here and pay attention to my critical strike right here. It goes to over 100, so that 5% is just wasted, right? So you want to get to the point where your critical strike is as close to like not being wasted as possible, but still hitting 100, because every point there is worth it, right? So you see how I stack a bunch of crit, but I don't gem it or enchant it, right? So what it is I need to actually change some of my corruptions, because I have 8 severes, whereas the top Cinnabon is running not that. He's running like maybe 6 severe, nothing on those, so that's why he's playing low corruption. 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's actually only playing 5 severes to get his crit up that high, and then the rest are strike through. So he's playing like 1, 2, 3 strike throughs and 5 severes, right? So I take 3 of these severes off and make them strike throughs, and it would actually increase my DPS because of my critical strike, and then I'd probably make these crit gems to get my critical strike back up to where it is for removing those severes. As for Azerite goes, it's pretty straightforward. You just look at the top logs. You just want Equipose and Heart of Darkness on all 3 of your pieces. There's no. Alright, time to get into the multi-target rotation. So you'll want to have Resonance and Reverberate chosen for this, right? And you should have that chosen in most Mythic Plus dungeons that you're doing, aside from maybe Workshop or King's Rest or more single target heavy dungeons. It'll help you generate more Arcane charges through Arcane Explosion, and it will help you deal more damage through Arcane Barrage with those Arcane charges that you're generating. You want to start by, I'm going to just generate my charges real quick, because whenever you go into a pool, you should have your charges already in Mythic Plus. And I'll kind of show the type of burst that you can do, actually. So now that we're out of here, reset all data. Alright, I got my charges. We're going to go in, World Bane, Rune of Power, Arcane Power, and you're going to want to Arcane Barrage to start off to use all your charges. Generate your charges, Arcane Barrage. Use your Clear Casting procs and Arcane Explosion. Generate 4 charges, and then you're going to want Arcane Barrage. Didn't get that good procs there, but you see what I'm doing. And then outside of your burst, right, you're going to want to, unfortunate eye corruption there, but outside of your burst, you're going to do the exact same thing, right? You're just going to want to essentially burn all your freaking mana. And then once you get up to 4 charges from Arcane Explosioning, you want to spend them with Arcane Barrage. You use your Clear Casting procs, right, on Arcane Explosion because it makes it cost nothing. And you see my mana is really not going down that much despite the high cost of Arcane Explosion. It's really not that bad. And then also with Mythic Plus, how you're coming out of combat a lot, you're going to be able to get drinks between pulls, you're going to be chilling. You're going to want to use your Rune of Power a lot as well. So like I'm already up to close to full mana. It's just the same effect, but every 45 seconds, so like halfway between whenever your Arcane Power is off cooldown, right? You're going to want to Rune of Power and just spend your mana that way. And just have a mini burst window every 45 seconds. And that's kind of what makes this like decent in Mythic Plus, is its damage profile is like really nice. So every pull you'll have some sort of cooldown to use for it. Either Rune of Power or your big cooldowns like World Bane, Rune of Power, and Arcane Power. And it can be a little bit proc dependent. You can get between like 3 to 4 Arcane Barrages during your big burst windows. But I mean, that's just how it is with a lot. Alright, so now for single target, you're going to want to have Charged Up and Touch of the Magi selected. And this will be for raiding. And it doesn't change your rotation for single target. So if you had Resonance and Reverberate, your rotation would be exactly the same, except you just wouldn't be able to get your Arcane charges as quickly. You would want to come into the pool with them, which you can do in Mythic Plus, so it's not that big of an increase in damage for Mythic Plus not having Charged Up. So we're going to switch to these just for the sake of showing you how you would do your single target rotation in Raid. So one of the things that I could do, right, on these target dummies, which I did in the intro, right, is I started with Charged Up and then I began my opener, right? So I had my 4 Arcane charges going into it like you would in Mythic Plus, which is why I did that in the opener to show that. So what you do in Mythic Plus, but you can't do that in Raid because as soon as you start, I'm gonna waste these right now, but as soon as you would start attacking the Raid boss, your charges start to go away. So it's completely wasted. So don't try that. You have to touch the boss first, right, before you use your Charge Up. Of course, if you're a troll, you want to use Berserking, and I guess I'll go into the rotation now. Don't have my food buff or anything, but we should be good. So you want to pre-pot, cast, then charged up immediately to get your charges. World Bane, Rune of Power, Arcane Power, and then you spam Arcane Blast until you have about a fourth left on Arcane Power, and then you want to cast Presence of Mind and get those last 2 in there. So I ended up getting 8, right? And then you cast Rune and continue your burn phase. Probably should be using Clear Casting procs as well while you can. But you want to continue your burn phase until you get down to 0. Keep your Arcane charges so you can Arcane Blast as soon as you get out of there and spend some mana so you don't get overcapped on mana. Like that. You use that Clear Casting proc. Yeah. Then you want to go down, you want to stay above 70, right? 70 mana that is. So you get your Equipoise. But you don't want to cap it ever. Alright. So I guess what I really want to say to end this video is to give these poor Arcane mages a chance at Mythic Plus. If you see someone join your group and they tell you they're going to play Arcane, give them a shot. Give them a shot. Because they might not be as good as Fire, but they aren't bad. They aren't bad at all. And if you're a mage, give it a shot. Try out Arcane. If you're trying the 100% crit build for Fire Mage, you got the gear that you need. You might need a couple strike throughs, but you can do it, and it's very fun. Honestly, I enjoy the play style. I'm looking forward to Shadowlands because Arcane mages are looking really good. But thanks for watching, and have a good one.